I can't. Hi, Tokyo Tops. Sister Hong is trying to get you. Oh, it's me. It has been a huge drama, in the community. I feel like it has reached outside of China as well.
Is it known outside the gay community? It's like international.
Oh yeah, it's also like straight people know it as well.
Tell me all about myself
Okay.
and what I've done.
So basically, there's a 38-year-old man.
Okay, sounds about right, me, yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna do a good job explaining the whole situation, but basically, he's tricking men to for free services. Should I say he or she?
How do they define?
I think it was like more like cross-dressing instead of like a trans person situation.
Okay. Is he gay?
We don't know. Can we stop labeling them because we don't know the whole situation?
Okay.
If he identifies as a trans person, then he's not gay,
That's
right?
true. Anyway, so go.
Let's bypass that. That's not the whole point of
okay.
the story. So in the early rumor, people saying that there were 1,600 guys got tricked by him and secretly got sex taped by him. But actually, after the verification, it was only 230 or 40.
Yeah, I was confused because I think I heard about that, and then I said to someone, they're like, "Isn't it 1,600?" And then I thought we were talking about different people.
He, secretly recorded those actions and not putting online, but he sold it to like his private group chat, whatever, to make money. And I think some of the people leaked his video to the wider internet. That's how it got exposed. Although there were not 1,600 men, but there were more than 1,000 tapes. Recorded videos.
Because I heard that sometimes people came back for more.
There are a lot of them actually.
Yeah, so that's why. So even to 200, if one of them came 5 times or whatever, you get a bigger collection. I keep on seeing memes, and one of the memes that I found, which I thought was pretty funny, was someone was like making a new Lego set based on Sister Hong and had her with the mask and everything.
Yeah.
Someone was holding a watermelon.
Oh, that's Animal Crossing, no? No, they have the Animal Crossing version. They also have the Lego version. They have the Fortnite version. Like everything is Sister Hong.
They brought her gifts?
Yes. So she advertised as a free service. So like usually for prostitution, you have to pay a certain amount of money
You need to say sex work. Sex work.
So he offers it for free, but in exchange, they have to carry some watermelon or oil or some like daily necessities.
Watermelon's a good one. I think that's the one that probably went viral, right? Because like, why would you make one? I mean, it kind of makes like bringing fruit. It can be expensive, right?
Well, you guys see people carrying like milk and
milk.
And potato. Some people carry oil, like cooking oil. Yeah.
That's actually okay. This is a sidebar here. This was last year, to hook up with a guy, and he literally mailed me halfway and said, "Can you pick up some toilet paper? I'm out."
Oh yeah, I got some situations as well. Like, so my guy was eating ramen, like instant noodle, and he said like he forgot to pick up the chopsticks. Can you go to the convenience and pick up the chopsticks for me? And I was like, okay.
You did.
I did.
Yeah, I bought toilet paper too. I was like, okay, like what did you say at that moment? Anyways, maybe that was Sister Hong in the making. Okay.
Anyways, why don't we watch an introduction video of her and we can react to it.
Okay.
Did you know Sister Hong? This is a true story. His real name is Zhao. He's 38 years old and lives in Nanjing, China. But online, he became known as Sister Hong, a man who dressed as a woman, using heavy makeup, wigs, silicone prosthetics, and even voice modulation to appear as the perfect woman on dating apps. Plan? To lure men into his home and secretly record everything without them noticing. And the most disturbing part, he sold those videos in private groups for money. Many men showed up thinking they were meeting a woman, and even after realizing it was a man, they still went through with it. The scandal exploded when wives and family members began recognizing faces in the videos. It made headlines around the world. Over 1,000 men were exposed, and the case became global news. Sister Hong was arrested and charged with distributing obscene content and violating the privacy of his victims. The case became a warning about deception, privacy, and the hidden dangers of the internet.
Okay, well, there's so many questions. So, like, one of the first ones, though, is like, so it was leaked.
Yeah.
If I was like a wife.
Yeah.
Or husband. And then it's leaked, and then I'm like starting to like go through, would I like go out of my way to go through all the pictures to see? Like, my point is how do you accidentally stumble upon the picture of your spouse or your family members in that?
I mean, another big topic of this incident is some of the guys are like really, really good looking and like muscular, good looking, like personal trainers. They have like really great body, and people in the gay community is like,
I'll do it.
I would never be able to get, with these kind of guys. Even I tried very hard to like work out, and you just put on some terrible makeup. He doesn't really look really good after the makeup, and the straight guy still did it. And they're like, oh, why did I even try so hard to like work out and improve myself? On the other hand, I want to talk about it. It's like, because it's so popular, they have fucking rankings on on the most popular male cast
who went there,
and
they call them cast because they're like in the videos. That's like a whole series.
On TikTok there are a lot of videos being like, oh, these are my personal favorite top 10.
So who's yours?
No, hold on. Because it has become so viral on the internet, and one of the actually most popular guy, and they call him the jacket boy because he's like really cool with like a leather jacket when he walked in, and he's very smiley and very handsome. I think he was about to get married with his girlfriend, and I mean, incident like that because it exploded on the internet and people, found it out.
So the videos like that were released and available. You can watch them all.
Have you watched any of the videos? No. I saw some of them on X.
That sounds about right. The platform for it. Yeah.
But they only have the hot guys, apparently amongst the 200 different guys, there are some normal looking ones, but there are definitely a dozen of like the really hot one become like really popular online. You have never seen any of them. Why don't we look at some of the...
So she's just sitting there, and that's her.
Yeah, that's her.
And there's a lot of lighting.
Yeah, it's not dark at all.
I thought it was like under the... What? What? That's him?
Yeah, that's the... Oh, that's the jacket!
Jacket? Yeah. Jacket looks young as fuck.
Yeah, he's like... Really,
he's like 21. My first question though.
Okay.
Who has like a Louis Vuitton deal now? Like, surely someone has monetized this.
Louis Vuitton?
Yeah, or like some advertisement, or like he's gonna sell fucking Raycons or whatever on his YouTube. Someone, like Jacket. Jacket is a victim.
Yeah.
But these scandals can often turn into, he could have his own brand of jacket.
Or have a Netflix
or exactly. Or
right?
he releases, some, like, I'd be curious to see, like, again, I know that they're victims, but like some people
can monetize on that.
You see monetization happening in like the wildest of ways.
But I feel like that's a different situation in China because the incident happened in China.
Yeah, okay, fair.
So, it's not like Western society, oh, Kim Kardashian have a sex tape.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. Now she's billions of dollars, right? Yeah.
I don't think that's the same in China, that you literally get canceled and facing legal consequences. Okay, so sex is one of the elements why people watching the video, right? But luckily, being a Chinese, it's even more fun to watch as a Anthropology documentary because everyone coming with different reaction and interaction with Sister Hong. Some of them they realize on the first sight, oh, this is not a woman.
Right.
So they like started to grab her, being like, can I check if you have a dick or something?
And then she literally just lets it happen?
No, Sister Hong's like,
no!
I'm a woman! If you do this, I'm gonna call the police. And the guy's like, fuck, shit. Like, that was a foreigner, like really buff, like that beard guy.
And then he left.
No, he did it. He still did it. So that's one of the culture phenomena in China. We call it 来都来了.
Is that coming? 来?
せっかくだから. Which means
like I've got
might as well.
I've come all this way. And how many times do we talk about this on like catfishing or whatever when you get there?
You just might as well.
Yeah, you just get there and you're like, ugh.
And he still did it. And Hongjie was having a conversation with him to like, your dick stinks so much. You should take a shower, whatever. And he's
to him?
Yeah, to him. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And he was like apologizing.
She like took control of the situation.
She's actually crazily nice. And a lot of guys like you said earlier, they came back
Yeah.
to her because people were saying because of her warmth, that's something like girls in the modern society not able to provide because she's so caring. And some of them like made out with her with so much passion. They were like, "Ugh."
Were there any videos that like didn't make it in the sense?
Oh yeah, some of the people they found out and they couldn't accept, they just leave.
And those were uploaded too.
Yeah, they were uploaded as well.
So she released these all to her group, her community.
I think
and
so.
instead of leaking one or two, they just leaked the whole set.
I think, yeah, that's very common in China. If you go to those X accounts, if you pay certain of like money, they give you the whole bundle. Like they give you the whole set.
Yeah.
That's the whole collection. Like here you go.
Like After Effects plugins or whatever for your
Yeah.
YouTube videos, you get all the special effects.
Yeah,
for one,
you can pay for one video, but
And
if
it's
you
so-
just pay.
It's been building up for many years, but anytime the new person buys them, they get all the backlog.
I don't know because
Oh,
I've never
okay,
directly
sure.
buying from her, from him.
I wonder if people want to see the porn, but also the...
For me, like the porn is very straightforward. Some
Yeah.
of the guys like they came very quickly. I think they just like want to get it done or whatever. But it's the anthropology.
I think
part is
I think people want to see like even the ones that left, they didn't get naked, right? So if you're only watching it for porn sake, it's not what you signed up for, I guess, or bought, right?
Yeah.
But I think in that situation, I would imagine people are watching it partly to figure out, is it gonna happen? Because it's a real situation, they're invested to see, and then when they leave, there's still sort of what I'm trying to say is the sex seems not as important. Back in the day, we had, I'm gonna show my age. Have you ever heard about bait bus?
Yes, but that's fake. That's
exactly.
all-
But that's my point.
Yeah,
is
that's
that
staged.
every time you would look at Bait Bus, I couldn't suspend my disbelief when watching that. I knew it was fake. It's obvious that it's fake.
Yeah.
When people are watching this and they know it's true, it might be hotter.
Okay. Yeah, maybe that's one of the aspects.
Like think about Bait Bus if it were true.
Yeah, like getting straight guys like some action.
Yeah, and it starts with the girl, right? And then it's like, oh well, like why don't you just fuck him, right? And then he's like, I'm not fucking that dude or whatever. And the girl's like, come on, and because so hot or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then he kind of, what is it, Lido, whatever, what?
来都来了.
Lido.
Yeah.
They're just like, okay, like that's Bait Bus in a way, right?
Anyways, I want to talk more about different casts. I feel like some other people who stood out for me is there's a dude people call him like 4-season bro.
Like a hotel or something, or he comes in different outfits.
Yeah, he
over the
came in
year.
Over the year, like it covers winter,
like scarf.
summer.
Oh my god.
He actually is really cute as well.
He could have a whole clothing line for each
season.
season.
Yeah.
As you said, looking at it from like an anthropological sort of sociological point of view, I think it really throws into, sure, we're joking about like the bar of straight men being, low or whatever, but it like looking at that seriously, it's more of a conversation of what is sexuality, what is gender. Maybe it was enough for her to do what she did with a wig and so that they know that she is biologically male, but they could suspend their disbelief. Is that enough? Or with the fantasy or the interaction of her voice and stuff like that. Like I'm just reminded of when we went to Shibuya and drag, the amount of attention we got from straight guys, and we were talking, to our friend, and she was saying, yeah, it's interesting when you don the attire. Like I've never been looked at by straight guys that way, and like they for sure knew that I was a man under it. But that's my point. At what point does it, obviously that's the whole conversation around a lot of sexuality, is that gender is not about your parts. It is more than that. It can, so it doesn't necessarily have to be that. And I've found trans men very sexy, very masculine, because I like that masculine energy, and that it's very turning on. So if Sister Hong is going and she's giving feminine energy, I'm like, no, stop it, all that stuff. Like, it's just really interesting where I really want to like dive into old gender theory books and read more, because I think that I don't have the answer, but I think that it brings up a lot of questions surrounding gender and its connection to sexuality. You said something about how Sister Hong treated them in a way that they felt that other women would not. like with compassion or kindness or something like that.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminded me as well of certain things where I hear like sometimes, you know, people in drag can get a lot of attention because they're overly feminine. They're displaying like hyper feminine or something like that. And that's hot because they don't get to see that level.
Yeah, it's a fantasy.
It's a fantasy, right? And so that was also interesting. That's what I thought of when you said about how she's, you know, acting in a way.
I think he was trying to like trick people,
manipulate them.
Not trying to serve like an unrealistic feminine figure.
But it was ironically something that pulled them in the sense of.
Oh no, I think like he you know, like how we were talking about filters.
Yeah.
In China, like sometimes you don't look like the real person.
Yeah.
I think he like definitely gaslighted people, where like catfish people with like a prettier version of herself.
So then when they said that, her comfort and her kindness was not. Well, I mean, it was to win them over, but you're saying it was a way of her to salvage and save the situation and get them back in.
I don't think it works for everyone, but some people maybe after they initially tried it and they were like, you know, talking to her. I don't know, it's very hard to explain.
I mean, there's a lot
it's also 200 different
people,
so different people have different reactions. Yeah, for some people, or some people can just be bisexual, you know, some people.
Yeah.
Sometimes, or just like every hoe is a go, like the people just like, well, like
that's what the meme is. Every hoe is a goal.
We don't know because I feel like we haven't talked to the victims and they didn't share the motives or the reasons behind their actions. You know,
there's a lot of things I think about with this video. It's, you know, as I said, we're joking about it, but there are victims involved. So like. There's an aspect there that we have to be considerate of. But also it makes me wonder, like, there are times when I've been to hookups and I wonder if there's a camera. And it makes me, I do think about stuff like that. I actually remember on Sex and the City, I think, was it Samantha filming? I think it was her filming, where she would have hookups and she's tried to film it and then she got caught or whatever. And it was like, you know. But like, I remember I've had a hookup where someone started like, it was kind of a dim room and they turned on their light on their phone to try and like illuminate.
Yeah.
But I was like, why? Like, and he's like, I'm just trying to like light the scene. But it, like, I was like really turned, I was like, what's going on, right? Like, I don't know if he was honest or not, you know, about that. And then there are sometimes as well where it's like, if you think about all the glory holes that are out there, like glory hole setup, come drop by. You can't see what's on the other side. I'm not trying to demonize our community and say like they're people who are just having fun and everything's consensual, but the possibility is always there. And seeing stuff like this, it's like, it reminds me of it can happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So just be careful.
And be careful. Or also, I guess I'm not saying that